My name is Rachel. I work as a graphic designer at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research. Now what that means is that if any of the researchers need some print collateral for a scientific organisation that they're doing, then they come to me. If we want an infographic to explain how our research is fighting malaria, we come to me. If we want to write an HTML email to send a newsletter out to all of our donors and supporters, that's where I get involved in designing and producing them. So you would expect, therefore, that I might think that this is a brand. And it is. I do a lot of these at my job. I get asked to do a lot of these. I get asked a lot to do brands, and they mean they want me to design a logo. But it's not the whole story, and it's not exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. So tonight, we're actually going to be talking about a personal brand, and I'm particularly interested in what your personal brand is. Who are you? To do that, we're going to be talking about branding in general, and we're going to talk about 3 different questions. The first one is, what is a brand? The second one is, who are you talking to? And the third one is, how are you getting that message out? Now, because this is a workshop, I'm going to give you a couple of examples along the way so that we can explore some of those concepts. And then at the end of things, because this is only the beginning of the process, I'm going to leave you with a few resources so you can keep working on this after tonight. I'm going to learn eventually that my computer's back there and not up here. So, if a logo isn't in and of itself a brand, what is? A font can be a brand. A colour can be a brand. Out of interest, does anyone know what company this colour is associated with? Thank you very much. You see how effective it can be, right? You can own a colour now. A sound can be a brand. And anyone who's walked past a Subway restaurant can tell you that even a smell can be a brand. A brand is your personal public face to the world. It's the way that people recognise you and understand what it is that you do. In terms of your personal brand, it comes out in things like your appearance, the way you give your opinion, the way that you explain your skills, and also your personality, how people interpret the kind of person you are. So in terms of your appearance, that can come out in things like your name, whether you work under a business name or whether you use your own name. It can be the way that you dress. It can be the headshot that you've got on your social media profiles. And it can also be your visual branding, if you have any of that. In terms of your opinion, you might be showing that in a blog that you write. You might be giving presentations on things that you may or may not know something about. Or it might just be the way that you answer questions that people have given you. In terms of your skills, it comes down to how you explain what you do in that 5 seconds when you first met someone face to face. It's in any brochures that you might have produced to hand out to potential customers. And it's also in your folio if you've got one of those either in your hand at a job interview or online. Your personality comes out in how confident you are, how approachable you are. It is seen in the kind of references that people have left you, and also in the way that you work with other people, whether you're easy to work with or not. So if that's what a personal brand is, that public face to the world, then you've got to remember that there's a public that you're talking to. So who is your personal brand talking to? Some of the strongest messages only talk to a select group of people. And that's because talking to everyone at one time is actually really hard. If you make your message specific to those people that you're talking to, then it's going to be a lot more relevant to them. You've got to remember you do this already. If someone asks you what you've done on the weekend, you're going to tell that story differently to your friends as opposed to your mother or as opposed to your colleagues. You're going to be telling the same story, giving the same message, but you're going to be telling it according to what they want to hear and also what you've got to tell them about. So the real key is to work out who it is you're talking to and making sure that message is relevant to them. So what is it that your audience, the people that you're talking to, want to hear? Remember, you're selling yourself. What do they want to buy? What is it that you have that you can give them to get that? There's still one third part to this whole equation that we need to get going on. We've talked about a lot of theory. This is the practice, how you actually get that message out. So to do that, you've got to start the conversation. And now you can do this directly. You can meet people in person. You can set up your online profiles and start contacting people that way. Or you can do it indirectly. It can be setting up your portfolio so that when people are searching online, they come across your work and think, oh, she's great, and start looking a little bit more into you. You can do that through your writing. You can do that through presentations. There's a whole heap of different ways you can start getting your message out. The reason why you're doing this is because the more people recognize you and then understand what it is you do, the more they're going to trust you and hopefully work into that point where they'll actually consider doing business with you or choosing you for the job that they're looking for. It's important to remember, though, that you can't control what they think of you. As we've seen here, like, depending on someone's background and what they're looking for, they may think something very different of one person as to what Jane has thought of the same person. What you can do, however, is you can influence what they think. So it's more a case of dressing for the job you want and letting them see that rather than necessarily being able to control exactly what they want, what they're thinking of you. Now, hopefully the end result of this is that if you get your message out clearly, if you make it consistent, so it seems the same across every time they talk to you, so you're not doing some crazy, strange thing to them, and if you connect with them truthfully, that's when they're going to know you, that's when they're going to recognise you, and that's when they're going to feel comfortable. They're going to trust you and they're going to feel comfortable doing business with you. That's our end result here. That's the whole reason why you build up a personal brand. So where to next? So far I've given you all these different ideas and all these theories. We've started working on your personal brand. We've started talking about who you're talking to, and I've given you some ideas on how you can get that message out. But after tonight, you're going to be going and setting out into that world of trying to work out how to build your own personal brand. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can build your brand on your own, and a lot of people do that, or you can get someone else to help you. So I'm going to give you resources for those two different directions. Now, in terms of building your brand on your own, what you'll need to do to build your own personal brand will depend on who you are, who you're talking to, and how it's most useful to get that message out. So I haven't concentrated too much on any particular one way, but what I have given is a couple of different links according to those attributes that I was talking to about before. So in terms of your appearance, the way you get your opinions out, the skill set that you can tell people that you've got, and your personality. So don't worry too much about writing down these links now, because I'm going to give you a link to all of these slides where I've uploaded them at the end of this presentation. But just quickly, we've got things like how to get a good headshot going. Being a graphic designer, I've gone a little bit crazy on the links for visual branding in case you want to look into that side of things. Got things on how to write a blog. If you wanted to get into public speaking, this is a great resource called Seize the Room. In terms of skills, mastering your pitch is really important, because if you can't explain to someone within the first 5 to 15 seconds who it is that you are and what it is that you do when you first meet them, you're already, if you can do it, you've already hit the ground running. However, on stuff like your LinkedIn profile or times where you've got a little bit more time, it's also useful to know how to write a full personal biography as well. And then we've got a really good talk from Jacob Cass about building a personal platform, and he actually goes into some details as to the benefits he's seen from having such a strong personal brand. In terms of personality, we've got a general rundown of how to use social media, and also a really great presentation from Whitney Heth talking about evangelizing yourself, and she goes into some practicalities of how you actually get your personality out there and get people understanding just how amazing and wonderful you can be. However, if you're finding that it's all a little bit too big, or you don't have enough time, or you're feeling like you don't have enough skills in all of these different areas that you feel that your personal brand needs to be covering, you can also get people to help you. Again, this is going to depend on what you need help with. So what I've done for you is I've written down some of the job descriptions of people who may be able to help you. These are the kinds of titles that you're going to probably be wanting to look at, depending on what help you want. Now, when you're looking at who to get to help you, these are the kinds of questions you want to ask. So you're basically wanting to find out, do they have the skills to do what you need them to do? And also, are you going to have that kind of rapport with them? I mean, you're talking about your personal brand here. They're really going to need to get you. So make sure that when you're working with them, that they're going to be able to really bring out that really good essence that is you. So, thank you very much for coming to the personal branding presentation. This is the short link up here for the slides if you wanted to review any of them, particularly if you wanted to go through any of the reference links that I've given you. I am very happy to, I really love your feedback on this, or I can answer any of your questions after the presentation. So I can either do that now, or you can always contact me online as well. So I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. But tonight, we've talked about what your personal brand is, and we've gotten you started on doing that. We've talked about your target audience and started you thinking about what exactly it is that they want, and helping you think about how you're going to tell them about what you've got that you can give to them. And finally, we've talked about how you're going to get that message out, whether it's directly, indirectly, and all the different forms that you've got to do that. Thank you very much.